What's up, cooks? It's Wednesday. Today, we're going to talk about how to make chicken stock. I'm talking about a really, really good, rich chicken stock that you can use across the board in all your dishes. You can make soups, you can make stews, you can make rice. Anytime you want some liquid, bring in a flavorful homemade stock. It'll elevate your dishes like you would never believe. So welcome to the Amy Learns to Cook kitchen. So in how to make a chicken stock, we have to start with some fundamentals. What exactly is a chicken stock? A chicken stock is a liquid that you have simmered for a long period of time, various ingredients. You're either going to put bones in it, meat in it, vegetables, herbs, or a combination of those things. So you're going to take a water and you're going to simmer all these ingredients in it to flavor the water, because the water generally is the neutral flavor. But sometimes you want to bring things into your dish that adds more than just plain water would. Either you're going to make a soup or a stew, or you want to use it as a base for any kind of dish. You want to make a braise, you want to make rice, you want to make anything, you can use a stock for it. So once you know what a stock is and why you use it, a liquid that you use as a base, what's the difference between the terms, right? Some people talk about stock and some people talk about broth. And there's this fundamental difference between the two. Stock is made primarily with bones. So you're going to use beef bones, chicken bones, pork bones. You're going to use the leftover shells and stuff from seafood. It mainly uses bones. The bones give off gelatin. It gives a nice silky mouthfeel to your liquid. It's fantastic. You can add herbs in it. You can add vegetables in it, but it is primarily used with bones. A broth, on the other hand, can be just straight vegetables. It can be meat. It tends to have a little bit of bones, some meat if it's a meat stock, or it's like vegetables. So another major difference of the two is a stock tends to be more gelatinous, sort of like if you make Jell-O, right? That gelatin that comes out of the bones infuses in the water, and sometimes it literally gels up in the refrigerator and becomes completely like Jell-O. That gelatin brings a mouthfeel, it brings a flavoring, it brings a richness to the stock. If you don't take it to that point, you're making broth. Broth is not simmered as long. A stock can be simmered overnight. A broth, you can make it faster. It tends to be thinner. It doesn't gel. It will have gelatin in it, but it doesn't gel up quite like stock does. It's not as rich. And there are times where you want to use a stock over a broth. At times you might want to make a broth over a stock because you want something that's thinner. You don't want quite the stronger flavors that you would get in a broth. So you might make a stock. You also might be using just vegetables. So what do you cook a stock in? I use one of these two pots, and I'll kind of tell you the difference. These are all clad, and they call these both stock pots. This is a stock pot, and this is a tall stock pot. The tall stock pot can come in a set that's like a pasta pot. So it comes with an insert, it's got a lid, and they call it the pasta pentola. But it comes with, or you can buy this. This is a 7-quart, I think, tall stock pot. This is their classic stock pot. So you will see a big difference between these two pots. This one here is really wide. It's lower and wider. This one here is taller and narrow. So why would you use one versus the other? Well, mainly because of evaporation. So this one is wide, it's going to evaporate more and it's going to concentrate the stock. This one here, you're going to end up with more because it's not going to evaporate as much, but it also is not going to be as rich. So you can make your broth in here and your stock in here. Some people really like this setup because it's kind of a multi-purpose pan. It's wide. You can saute things in here. Then you can cook a braise in here. You can do all kinds of stuff in here. This one you can cook corn, pasta. It's like a pasta pot, but it's also great for broths. I really think in a fully equipped kitchen, you would have one of each because you're going to use this one as a pasta pot. You're going to cook stock in it. You're going to cook broth in it. You can do all those things. But when you want to make a really rich, concentrated stock, you want to use this and you want to leave the lid off. So which one is better? There isn't one that's better. There are times where you want to make a lighter stock or broth. You'll use this. Sometimes you want to make a more concentrated stock. You'll use this one. Today we're using this one because I want to cook this stuff down. I want a nice, flavorful, concentrated, gelatinous stock. Recently I did a video where we made a potato dish. I'll put a link up here. And in that video, a lot of people asked me, how did you make that stock? And I did it in this pot. I concentrated it, and the next day, it was solid jello, right? It was amazing. So that's what we're going to be doing today in this. We'll make some in this in another time, but today we're going to be using this. So you ask, Amy, you made a broth in an Instant Pot. You can do that when you're making vegetable broth because vegetables aren't going to develop the gelatin. You will not get that gelatin development in an Instant Pot or a pressure cooker. You need to do it on the stove for a long period of time. That's where you get that gelatin. You will not get it with a short stock. You will not get it with a short broth, and you will not get it in a pressure cooker. You have to put this on the stove. We're going to be leaving this for like 8 hours. You can leave it overnight. A lot of people do that, really develops that gelatin. I got that gelatin in that broth. I did that in 6 hours in an open stock pot without a lid, 6 hours simmering, and I got all that gelatin. So that's how you develop it. You can do it in an Instant Pot if you need something fast, but if you really want that gelatinous, concentrated, delicious, ultimate flavor, you have to do it in a stock pot. And if you really want to go for the gusto, do it in a wide stock pot with no lid on it. So let me get the vegetables and our chicken, and let's start making this stock. So the very first thing is I have these chickens. I roasted these the other day, and after I cleaned all the meat off, I put them in these bags, and they've been in the fridge. They've been at the top of my refrigerator, so they're a little bit frozen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to put this in to here. And we have a big chicken in here, chicken bones. Woo! And I have another one here. Well, this one is totally frozen. I can't break it apart. That thing is frozen. And I'm going to be cutting up some vegetables. So here's some carrot. I don't know what it is, but I always feel like real carrot instead of baby carrots does better in stock. That's just me. I peeled them because I don't know whose floor these were on in the processing plant, and I don't want to muddy my stock. A lot of people put them in there unpeeled. If that's what you would like to do, go right ahead. I'm going to go ahead and drop these in. These are just going to bring some aromatic flavor to our stock. Here's some celery. Go ahead and throw that in. A little bit more celery. So here we have some onion, and I'm just going to make some really big onion chunks. Some people leave the skin on. I do that a lot in vegetable stock, but I don't do it a lot in meat stock. You could do it however you would like. I'm going to go ahead and just cut these like this. Throw these in there. Put one more onion in there. Just throw those. Here I have some fresh thyme out of Farmer Ebu's garden. And I'm going to throw in some whole peppercorns. Just be careful when you strain this to get all those out of there, because you don't want to break a tooth on one of them. So I'm going to fill this up with some bottled spring water. We're on well water, but I just like to use nice spring water for my stock. That's 1 gallon. Ooh. So I'm going to throw some bay leaves in here because I overdo everything. There you go. And we're going to take this over to the stove. Now, I'm not going to salt this because I want to salt the dish that this is going into. If you salt this, you're not exactly sure the application you're going to use all this for. So leave it unsalted, and then you can salt when you're cooking your dish. So we are over here on the cooktop. I'm temporarily going to put the lid on to get that temp up. And when I get to a simmer, I'm going to take the lid off, and I'm going to be simmering this for literally like 8 hours. So as it goes along, I'll show you if I do any skimming, and I'll show you what simmer level that I leave it at. And yeah, our stock is on its way. So that looks like a good little simmer. We got a little bit of bubbling here, a little bubbling. It's not a boil, it's just a low. Might drop it down just slightly. It's just a low simmer. So this is going to be here for a while. Okay, so this chicken stock has been on the stove about 7 hours. Some people go all night with it, but I don't have all night. Wait. So here we go. Oh. So you have to remember, if you taste test this right now, it will have a blandness because there's no salt in it. But look at that rich chicken broth.
I see some thyme from the garden.
Eric's thyme from the garden.
That's Farmer Ebu to you.
Farmer Ebu's thyme from the garden. Look at that. Look at how beautifully rich that is. So all those chicken parts and all the vegetables gave up everything that they had left, and to give us this beautiful, rich broth. Look at that. Mm-hmm. That's amazing, huh? Mm-hmm. So that is our beautiful stock. Look at that. That looks amazing. So what we need to do is we need to get all of this out of it because we want that clear liquid. So what we're going to use is a chinois, right? That's what this is. It's basically a giant strainer that has these holes in there. And we're actually going to be using that tall stock pot we talked about earlier, because look at that. Perfect, right? So I'm having a little help here. You ready? Woo!
Now full of solids, right?
There goes the solids.
No solids.
Woo!
Oh,
Be careful. So here is all the spent bones and herbs and vegetables. So with the chinois, we just lift it up. We're going to put it back into this pot. Woo! I got a little facial there. So I put my broth into deli containers. That's what these are. You can get these on Amazon. You can get a set of 50 of them. I'll put links down in the description. They're great. You can go straight fridge freezer with these as soon as you give it a cool off. So we have our beautiful broth here. And what's the best way to get it in this deli container? Smells good.
Swanson ain't got nothing on you, boo-boo.
Yeah, no, there's nothing in a box that you can buy that's going to be good like this. And part of the reason it's good is we're going to have a lot of gelatin in here. And the gelatin is what, like I said, gives you that mouthfeel, gives you that deliciousness. Sometimes I measure this out, like I'll put so many cups in here. But I suspect I'm going to be using this in the next couple days, so we're going to go ahead.
That's going to make some tasty rice.
Even make some rice and throw this in there, yeah. Woo! That's nice and toasty. Kind of smells like Thanksgiving in here. So if you have a larger stock pot, like a 20 quart or something like that, you can save up your bones, throw them in the freezer, and then make a huge batch of this. This is, a relatively small batch. You can make this on a Sunday, and now you have this beautiful stock to use for your braises, for whatever you're going to make, particularly as winter comes, right? But definitely, every time you roast a chicken, you get a rotisserie chicken, you have some beef, go ahead and throw it in a Ziploc or vacuum seal it, and then when you're ready to go, get you a big old stock pot and make a bunch, and then freeze the stock. Go ahead and give her a pour here now that it's a smaller one. And I've got just a little one here, so I'm going to put this in here. You don't want any to go to waste. Whoa!
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. So this would be good for like 1 cup of rice. So cooks, thanks for joining me. We have 3 containers here full of beautiful chicken stock. I'm going to show you how this is. I'm going to let this cool. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. It's going to be in the refrigerator overnight. And I'll give you a shot of all the gelatin that develops in these. You're going to be amazed how much gelatin. So the fat's going to rise to the top once it chills in the refrigerator. So you can skim that off. You can run it through a fat separator, or if you want to leave it in there, you can.
Flavor.
It's flavor, but also if you want to make like a low fat or fat free, it won't be 100% fat free, but it will be less, right? You can skim that off or you run it through a fat separator. So in the morning, I will show you what this looks like. So here is our stock. It's looking pretty good. It's very gelatinous. Here is the fat on the top. We have some people here building our decks, so it's kind of noisy. So you can go ahead and take this fat layer off, or not. It's up to you. And look at that. That is gelatin from our beautiful stock. So when you heat this, it's going to melt back into, that's all gelatin. It's going to melt back into stock or a liquid. So that is how you get a gelatinous stock. That's how I had that in that potato dish video. It looked like this. Everybody was wondering how I got that. This is how you got it. You have to slow simmer your stock. So if you do it like that, you'll get this. So when you go to use it, throw it in your pan, heat it up, and it'll liquefy. But that will be beautifully soaky mouthfeel. It'll be delicious. Remember, there's no salt in it. But when it gets salt, it'll be amazing. Thanks for joining me.